Share
And
screen.
Sam, it's Jen
Yes.
Wofford. I wanted to say I'm so excited to be here. And I'm at my mom's house helping out with my elderly mother and her partner. And I didn't think I'd be able to join, but she just went down for a nap. So I'm on, but I possibly get pulled away. And so forgive me if I jump off suddenly, but I'll put it, I'm here as best I can.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
excited. Thank you.
So does anybody have any questions about anything up through the review, which was on the second page of week 3, so on page 6? Any questions on anything through page 5?
I would just be most grateful to hear it, and I can't do it, but to hear it just so my ears can hear the pronunciation.
That's fine. And what I will do is, there we go. No, I'm not trying to decide which way I like my screen better while we're sharing. All right, I think that's better. So I'm going to go through, and if it's your turn to read and you feel like you'd rather listen, just pass and we'll move on to the next one. And to make it truly random, I'm not going to call on you. I'm going to call on the first person, and the first person will call on the next person. So try to remember who has read so that everybody will have a chance to read. And I'm just going to start with the order on my screen. So lucky Beverly.
Okay.
We're on page 6. We're on the one that says review. And remember, what we're reading for is fluency, not speed. So remember, the process is to see the sound combination of consonant vowel, think the sound sound combination of consonant vowel, then say the sound a combination of a consonant vowel. And when there's a consonant vowel and then the next consonant doesn't have a vowel, as for example, at the end of the word, then that becomes the new think, see, say. So just by way of example, you're seeing a indicator of vowel only. So you're thinking ah, you're saying ah, and then you're seeing a final consonant with no vowel. So that's the not coming off of it. And so eventually you're going just seeing, thinking, saying and then it eventually comes out as So the first line, Beverly, you're on.
Okay. Rabbi, Bahu, Arba, Berech, Malech.
All right, great. So on the last one, you want to try to get to the mal, pause, he, because you can move from the consonant to the next consonant. Malache, by the way, is the way it's often going to be read by people and certainly going to be sung, because often we just throw in lots of notes. But for our purposes, we're going malche.
Malche.
Great. And I'm not saying anything in between because I want you to get into that pattern of do it, do it, do it, and moving on. Many of the things that you're reading now are words, but I'm not going to necessarily teach you every word. However, if you have an Hebrew-English dictionary, you will find many of them. Many of them you won't necessarily find, because when you go to the dictionary, you have to know what the 3-letter root is. And sometimes the root letter, one of the root letters, has fallen off or has changed. So you're not always going to find the words. But in the first line, and this is where you can write English if you want, is you can write translations if you want to learn certain things. And I'm just going to point out a few words that will more likely show up with things. Rabbah, Rav and Rabbah mean many or a lot or a multitude. So for example, people say Todah Rabbah, which means many thanks. So Rav is also the word for rabbi, because the rabbi is the teacher of many. So, but Rav and Rabbah is feminine, means many. Arba'ah is the word for four. And Hebrew is a gendered language. So arba is four and arba'ah is four. And that's just the difference between the masculine and the feminine. But for example, the four questions in the Hebrew, you're going to use that arba'ah for the four questions. Am is people. Berech is a knee, which I had pointed out is tied to the word for blessing. And malche, the A ending tells you that this word is in connection to the next thing. So this is melech is king, malche is kings of. And so it's always going to be connected to something. Malche, kings of. And you'll run into that in Shalom Aleichem, the song, which has Malchei Hamlachim, kings of the kings. All right, Beverly, give us a reader for line 2.
Jen.
Okay, I'm gonna struggle.
Oh, great.
Let me get it. Wait, it went away. Okay, there it is. Okay. Brach.
Okay, again, you want to go the full vowel, barach.
Barach.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm struggling.
As are many.
Well, I didn't do a good job keeping up. Shoot.
Yeah, you got the ah.
What's the
was the-
second letter?
What's the second letter? Taf. The t sound.
Oh, rach.
Okay, and but you want to add the vowel to it.
Atarach.
Exactly, atara. And the hey,
Okay.
yeah, the hey you can silent. You don't even have to breathe it.
Atarach.
Exactly.
La. Not so good.
And
What
that's
is that?
That's the t again.
Lela. I don't know what that is. How do I say it?
La lechet. Just
La
end with-
lechet.
Right.
La
So yeah.
lechet.
Right. And one of the ways to use the review is when you find a letter that you're saying, what was that again? You're trying, that's the cue to go back to that particular letter at where its lesson was and practice just that bunch. So
Yes.
you can go back to the t and practice the, so, and then the vowels, and it's, the vowels are tough because you have to see, is it the line? Is it the dots? So it just, but as you practice it and as you just focus on it in its little lesson, it will become more familiar. So great, you're doing good. Okay, the next one.
I'm not doing well at all.
Right,
Sorry.
then you just end with the.
So how's it supposed to sound?
So, and remember, and again, you're going to practice the dot on top is the O. So
Ho. Ho lech.
Exactly.
Ho lech. I think I don't have the good vowels yet. Ho
Yeah,
lech.
yeah. And that just takes, the vowels are the tricky ones because they're dots and dashes that are not always distinct. All right, and the last one.
Ayul.
Okay, so this
No.
one just says, look for the vowel and only do the vowel.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Ul. Ulet.
Ole. Okay, and again, just the silent, the hey at the end. So just the breathing. And yes, the tricks, you're looking for cues within the letter. So the hey is open at the top, has that little openness. and the taf is closed and has a foot at the bottom. So just little clues as to which letter you're dealing with. Great. All right, give us another reading, another reader.
Let me see, how do I find who's on the screen? Let me see, how about Asniv
Okay, Azzy.
Shevardayan?
Okay, I am going to be very bad, but I will try.
Jason, don't whisper in your ear because you're probably wrong.
um, Bet,
Okay,
Bat,
right,
oh gosh, Acha, Abba,
exactly, good. And again, the Q, the ch is rounded, the b sticks out at the bottom. Okay, next one.
La, La, is it Lam?
But yeah, and then there's another vowel.
Is it, that's an H, right? Lam,
But there's a vowel under the
Lama,
Exactly, perfect.
okay. Al,
Okay, L,
L, okay. Um, is that a T?
no,
Or
that's
that's an
yeah,
A.
right. Another another vowel.
Al, that's
Right.
another al, right?
Right, so L and
L,
A.
L,
Right,
okay.
this one says look for the vowel, this one says look for the vowel, but different letters pointing you to the vowel.
And then Bal, or
Well, b, and then the lamed has a vowel.
Baler,
The lu,
Bluer,
and then consonant vowel,
M,
right? But the with a vowel.
Blumer,
Okay, bluma,
Bluma, okay.
and bluma. All right.
Good job.
And what does El Al mean?
All right,
That's the Arab-
so bat literally means daughter, and Abba is daddy or dad. So bat Abba is dad's daughter, daughter of dad. Lama is why. El Al literally means two on. It's the name of Israel's airline. All right. Another reader.
Sam, sorry, could you tell us what bloma means as well?
Well, Bluma probably is a woman's name, Bluma.
Thank you.
Yeah, as I say, I'm not going to give you every word that's on the line because they're so, and on the previous line, Barach, again, is blessing. Berech is knee, Barach is blessed. So same root, but the vowels change things. Lalechet is to go, and this is where you won't necessarily find things in the dictionaries because lalechet means to go, and holech means is going, goes. So you can see where the strong and weak letters appear and disappear in different forms of the word. And oleh is going up. So a person who moves to Israel is an oleh, a goer up. Whenever you go to Israel, when you go from the top of Mount Washington to the bottom of the Dead Sea, you've just gone up. All right. Let's see, who hasn't read? Yeah, a couple of people haven't read. Pick one of them. Azzy, give us a reader.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I was supposed to pick someone. Chris.
We have Lech,
Yep,
Lacha,
exactly.
Achar,
Keep going.
HaTorah
HaTorah, good. And
and Malachi.
Malachi. All right, now what I want you to notice is the difference between the top one, Malachi, and the bottom one, Malachi. Again, you're pausing, Malachi. You have to pause after the lamed to get to the vowel. It's not Malachi, but Malachi. You may not hear it all the time, especially when you're doing it quickly, but you're thinking the pauses. Malachi. All right, Lech Lecha is from the Torah. It's what God says to Abraham, which is a problematic statement because no one really knows exactly what it means. Literally, the translation is go to you. HaTorah is the Torah, the teaching. And Malche was kings of. Malachi is messengers of. So that difference of spelling and that slight difference of the pause makes a difference as to the meaning. All right. We've got Amy left. Actually, we have two people left.
Which line are we on?
So we're on the 5th line.
Okay. Al May Ba Rem Ma Tek
Exactly, good.
Ha Be Ta. Oh no, Ra, sorry.
Right, Haberah, good.
Be Ra. Haba Ra.
Yep.
Ra. Wait. Ron. Nah.
All right,
Right.
and again, this was the one where you can't get off the nun to the next nun without making the extra pause. So rather than ran, pause, na, which you could do when you're doing it by
Ra.
syllables, it becomes ran, ninna,
Oh, Ra Nana.
because you have to get out of the nun to get into the nun.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so and the words are getting a little bit longer, but again, they're just by way of review, syllable by syllable. Almei and Berematech for many at the beginning, the difference between this A and this A is not necessarily distinguishable. So this is Almei, and if you're reading Berematech, that's okay. When you read it quickly, you're going to end up with Almei, long A, Berematech, a little bit shorter A. And Habera, again, a little bit shorter. But when you're reading it by syllables, you could very easily be going Berematech and doing it that way. And that's completely acceptable. And then the Ranana, so I'm throwing in at the end a lot of those Shva practices. When do you pronounce it? When don't you practice it? And Joyce, you get stuck with the big one.
I know. Okay. Okay. Bechorcha,
Excellent.
belech techa,
Yep.
ahamatecha. No,
Okay.
ahamatech,
Exactly.
bat
All right. And the hyphen up here will often appear in printed text. It tells you that though these are two separate words, they're read almost as if they were one word.
baram.
So it's not batam, but bat-am. But for example, if you were reading this as if it was a line, it would be bechurecha, belechtecha, ahamatech, bat-am. So it's almost one word. All right, great. Excellent. Any questions on anybody? The review helps you look back and say, uh-oh, I better go practice this vowel, better go practice this consonant, and absolutely go back and just pick, the whatever the schwa stuff or the mem stuff or the ayin, or on the previous pages, the taf or the ah or the eh. Go back and just say, this helps me target what I need to review from within the little groups. But we're going to move on.
Now,
So,
are we,
yeah.
excuse me just for 1 second, are we learning them? Because some of them you said the meaning of some of the words, like alme, I think it means to make, but I'm not sure. Alme,
Alme,
yes,
this one, Alme actually is from the word olam. So this is worlds of,
worlds of.
but in Hebrew, and that's why I'm not giving you all of the words that are possibly here.
Okay.
When we move to the next level, and they're in context. So olam or alam or olamim or other forms of that word actually in Hebrew best translate as space-time continuum. So
Okay.
you see, the ancient Israelites already knew about relativity.
Okay.
Because the word olam both means eternal and world.
Okay.
So it has and so for example, Melech HaOlam, ruler of the world, king of the world, and all of the blessings that we say is also eternal king or king of eternity or king of the universe or sovereign of the world or and so sometimes I actually, when I do my translations of blessings, I do translate olam as space-time or time and space.
Okay, I can wait till the next part. I'm not-
So,
Yeah,
but I am giving you words, some words as we go along that you're more likely to see once you get started again.
Okay,
So we had the what, 2 dots next to each other was the A, 1 dot next to each other is the E. And one of the things that happens in Hebrew is we get a lot of prefixes and suffixes giving us possessives and prepositions. So prefixes are often forms of prepositions or articles. Suffixes are often forms of possessives. And so anyone, the first word in the E group.
Tirat, tirati.
Okay, but again, look
I'm
for
sorry,
the,
torati.
exactly, Torati. The root is Torah, which is Torah or teaching. Usually often translated as law, but it's not really law. It comes from the word that means to teach. And then the E ending and the Torah, you can't go really Torahi. So to make it more easy to say, it becomes Torati. The hey becomes a taf. So Torati, the E ending is the first person singular. So Torati is my Torah. Okay, someone else, the second word?
Ema.
Yep, Ima. We had Abba, which was dad. Now we have Ima, which is mom. And sneakily, as we're going along, you're learning Aramaic sometimes as well. So Av is the Hebrew for father. Ha'av is the Hebrew for the father. Em is the Hebrew for mother. Ha'em is the Hebrew for the mother. But in Aramaic, the article is not the ha at the beginning, but actually an aleph at the end. So Av becomes Abba, which is the father, but because it was Aramaic, it was the vernacular. It came to mean my dad, my father, or dad. And so Ima is mom. Technically, the mother in Aramaic, but in common usage, you're talking about your mom. So Jen, your mom is sleeping, you can call her Ima.
Exactly.
All right.
Do you want me to
so-
try the next? Okay.
Yep, the next one, go ahead.
Okay. But I'm not doing a good job, but I'm just gonna try. Re.
Okay, again,
Ta.
just the resh with the E, so put them together.
Re.
Exactly. Rita.
Rita.
Yep,
Rita.
not re, just re.
Okay, but the little A in the The vowel A, we don't pause on that.
So the
Rita.
the vowel
We
A
don't
comes
pause on
after
that
the
little one?
kaf. So the resh is just a
Then the little-
re. So re, and then Rita.
But the little thing, which is the E or A,
It's the E.
this E, we don't pause on that. We just,
It's a consonant vowel combination.
okay.
So technically, if you're going
Rita.
really slow, it becomes re, not re, but e. So you're starting with the sound and then moving into the vowel, so it becomes re. So when you come out of the
And
consonant,
as the next one, ha,
yeah, when you're coming out of the consonant, you're coming straight into the
Habara.
vowel.
okay.
So re, Rita.
Rita, and then as the next,
And so
Habara.
Rita is the subject of a Beatles song.
Lovely Rita.
There she is. All right, and then the next one, yep.
Habara.
Okay, but again, the vowel under the bet is the E. So chabi,
Habirach.
and then chabir,
Habir. Ha.
Habir.
Ha.
and then cha.
Ha?
It's the final chaf with an a under it.
How does it sound?
Habir. Ha.
So remember the chaf
Habirach.
here,
Ha.
chabir cha.
Habir. Ha.
Exactly, perfect. Okay, and then the next one. Someone else?
I want to try.
All right.
O, ol, oli, hola, mim.
Exactly. Olami. Excellent. And remember, olam was that space, time, whatever. The E ending gives you the first person singular. So olami becomes my world, my universe, my eternity. Olami. Excellent.
So wait, every word in Hebrew that has me is because it's hola, mi. Because
Olami.
Okay.
So that's olam
Olam.
and then E. So olami. But when you break it down for meaning, it's olam plus E. When you read it, it's olami. So reading it doesn't necessarily break it down with giving us the root and the prefix and suffix, but once you add the prefix or suffix, then you've got a word. Olami. All right, the next one.
But ami.
Exactly. Bat, remember, was daughter or daughter of. Am was people. So Bat Ami becomes daughter of my people.
Elati.
Okay, and again, L, you can
L.
stop and then move on.
Right, because this is the two that is L T.
Exactly, LT. You don't need to go use the Shva at all. Shva says, leave me alone, I'm napping. LT, good. And
Im.
Im. Im means with. So you could already construct, if you want to say to somebody, come with me, you could say imi, with me, and you add the E at the end. All right. Now the next one, we start, remember at the end of every page from now on, you're going to be reading whole blessings. So we're all going to read this together nice and slowly, because even if you know the blessing, you don't want to say it, Baruch Atah Adonai, because you've already memorized it, but you want to actually read it. So we're going to be reading it together, and you're going to be practicing at home. Baruch, do it with me. Atah
Ata
Adonai,
Adonai
or Hashem, depending on your preference. Elohenu. And notice the lamed needs a vowel someplace. And you looked before and you couldn't, below and you couldn't find one. You looked after it and you couldn't find one. And then you looked above, and remember that dot above doesn't need the little crutch. It can hang out all by itself to be the O. So Elohenu and Elohe
Elohe, Eloheinu, Elohe.
HaTorah.
Torah.
Torah.
And then the last line,
Melech.
Melech. We're not worrying about accents here, but we're reading just, so we're not worrying about whether it's Melech or Melech, but Melech.
Melech.
HaOlam B'chira
Ira.
Mal
Techa.
And again, breaking it down, Mal Hu Techa. All right, and just for words, Baruch is blessed. Ata, you, masculine singular. Adonai, Hashem, God's name that we don't write down traditionally unless it's something that we are sure won't be destroyed or desecrated in any way. Eloheinu, literally God of us. You have the E ending for my, now you have the new ending for us, first person plural. Elohe, which you notice was here in the Elohe, the God of. So here it's God of. Eloheinu was God of us. Here, Elohe HaTorah, God of the Torah. And then Melech is king. Ha'olam is the world, the universe, the all, whatever. And that's enough words for there. Any questions on page 6 before we move on? The only
Well,
thing new on
the
page 6
ha-
is the E.
The ha'olam,
Yes.
it's a little tough. Just the ooh sound isn't there. It just goes a
No.
little.
Remember, the dot on top is O.
Okay, ho, ha.
Oh.
But the two vowels, ha.
Right. So that's why the ayin is there, because in Hebrew, we don't go how or combine vowels. In English, we keep them separate. So this keeps them separate by going ha and then O. So it's ha, O, ha, pause, O.
Got it.
And that's the purpose of the ayin and the aleph, is to give us the pause to get
Got
into the vowel. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sam, I see the that letter, like in Spanish, we have the H is silent,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Simply a way of getting to the vowel.
Excuse me just for a second.
Sure.
I don't want to interrupt the class when I have to leave, but I have to leave at 10:15. I work with the elderly, but I wanted to take this class. So I will probably, she's 98, she's failing. So if at some point she will pass on, but I hope you don't mind if I have to leave.
No,
at 10.
absolutely. People
Okay.
come and go as you need to. And one of the
Okay.
reasons that we're recording is both for review and also for those who can't make something. So right now I'm going to just give you a quick overview to the next, what we're doing today, which will be the practice for next week.
Okay.
And this way, you'll have a few minutes to see what the letters are, but then we're going to spend the last time just practicing them a little bit, but they'll be reviewed next time.
Okay.
So here's the next page. So we had the O with the dot on top. We had the U with the dot in the middle. And we have the O where the dot could be on the top without the crutch. Now we have the U where it's 3 dots diagonally. And we had 3 dots in a triangle, which was down here. Now we have 3 dots diagonally, which is U. So this is just going to be the U practice. U and who, and you're not going to hear a difference between the two oos. So oo and who, it's both oo.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the fourth word, everybody's crying over their Hebrew because you read this one as boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo. Rah, rah.
All right, the next one is a pay. And now the pay, like the bet, has a dot inside of it. But the pay, you'll notice, has this little thing hanging down, which makes it different from the chaf. The chaf was rounded here at the end of the line. The pay is rounded, but also has a little thing hanging down. And it's one of my little Hebrew Rorschach tests as to whether you see this pay as a little whale hanging down or what you see it as. But the word pay in Hebrew means mouth. And so you can see that, and all of the Hebrew letters were once pictograms, and they were once then symbolic of something else. The pay, you can see, looks like the open mouth here. So, but that's the sound. So, and when you have a shva, it's just re, not pre, but re. And you have to get out of the p as short as possible. Ru.
Hurry.
But when there's a vowel, it's just poo.
Purim.
And so then this one was Purim, Purim, which many people say Purim, but in Hebrew it's technically Purim.
Purim.
And that would be the practice of that one. Then you've had this little hanging thing with your A and your E vowels. Now it's actually a consonant in and of itself. It's the yud. And you'll notice the first sound you hear in the name of the vowel is the sound y,
Yeah.
y. So you're going to go hear this one, pir,
Here.
ya,
Yeah.
and
Pir,
y,
ya.
y. Ma, yim. So,
My.
and we'll get, again, we'll look at it in more detail next time because we'll begin with this page. And then page 8 has, now notice the pay with a dot inside of it is the p sound. The pay without a dot inside of it is the f sound. And what you're going to find in Hebrew is certain letters change their sound based on whether there's a dot inside of it or not. When you take the dot out, you actually add the letter H to the original version. And that's why I don't spell Faye as F, but as PH, because it's P with the dot, it's PH without the dot. But again, it's not P, it's P, and it's not PH, but F. And the Faye has an end form, a final form, as the Chaf did. And in many cases, the final form is simply the other form that went to a chiropractor and had its spine straightened. And as the Chaf went below the line, so you'll see the final Fe goes below the line, so that the first word is simply oaf. The next one on the for next week is a chet, which is like the chaf, is that ch sound. But the trick here is to see the difference between the chet, which has no opening at the top, and the hey, which does have an opening at the top. And the chet that has no opening and has no foot, and the taf that has no opening and has a foot. So those are the little clues you're looking at to get used to. And again, you're just going to spend time with the previous ones. And when you get to this one, you're going to spend time with it until you really recognize the chet for what it is, and not a taf and not a hey. And then finally, you had the nun from the dreidel. And since we're coming up to Hanukkah, now you have the gimel for the dreidel. And you need to get yourself an Israeli dreidel, because an Israeli dreidel has a nun, a gimel, a hey, and a pay on it. The non-Israeli dreidels have a different letter as the fourth letter, and you haven't learned that letter yet. So if you want to go to Hanukkah with things you know, get yourself an Israeli dreidel. The difference is that the nun, gimel, hey, and then fourth letter stand for the phrase on the dreidel, stand for the phrase Nes Gadol Haya, a great miracle was, and the pay stands for the word po, here, and the other one, the shin, stands for sham, there. So in Israel, the dreidel say Nes Gadol Haya po, a great miracle was here, and every place else it says Nes Gadol Haya sham, a great miracle was there. So you get your Israeli dreidel, you've got a nun, gimel, hey, p. So those are the letters you're going to be learning and practicing for next week. And now we'll spend the last few minutes just sort of giving you a little quick view on the letters. So oo
Ooh.
and oo. So oo and who. And Baruch, you already knew. But at the second line, umot, you couldn't have done before because you didn't have that other version of the oo.
Umot.
And again, you want to just practice umot, practice your syllables and everything else. All right, the pay,
Pari.
Peri, Peru.
Sam,
Yes,
Rim.
and the first letter is Peri, right?
right.
But the two dots in this case is not it's not a shawa, the letter
Yes, it is the shva, but remember it's the shva that needs a little extra work because Hebrew, just as we don't blend vowels going ow or o or anything like that, also in Hebrew, we tend not to blend consonants. So we don't go puri, we don't go pre, PR, but we go puri, giving each consonant its vocalization.
So we need to say pay because it's the pay and then re, pay.
But again, as short a vowel as you can, because it's not a pay, but it's a p. You're thinking the sound, not the name. So it's p, but you have to get out of the p to something other than aspiration or expiration.
And
Or
Sam, what does it mean? Pari.
Puri, right?
What
Puri,
does it mean? Because we say it in the prayer, pre-hagafen.
right? So puri means fruit of.
Gotcha.
Peru is the imperative plural, meaning be fruitful. So God says to people, Peru uruvu. We had the Rav earlier from Rabbi, meaning many. Peru uruvu means be fruitful and multiply and become many.
Yeah, I read that in the parasha yesterday.
So yes, so Peri and Peru. And here it's, you can go straight into the vowel pu, Purim. And these are then also getting you used to what are the clues you're looking for, rounded with the little whale hanging off, or rounded with the nose and mouth. Chapara. Panim is the Hebrew word for face, which in the Yiddish became punim.
Oh, no. Right, right.
So in Yiddish we say punim, but in Hebrew it's panim. And there'll be other words in here that you'll learn as well. But again, even when you have long words, rabotenu, just take them apart and put them back together. And you'll be getting to the point where you're almost ready to say a blessing over fruit. So it would be Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Borei
A,
Pri, which literally means creates the fruit of.
Creates the fruit of.
So Borei is creates, Borei Pri, creates the fruit of. Okay, Yud, when you're practicing, when you're ready to move on to the next group,
Here,
Ya.
here, yeah. Here, yeah.
It's a straightforward Y sound.
Mamim.
So now the third word technically is La Y La, because but remember you can when you have a shva you can go La Y, but when you go La Y,
Oh, Laila.
so exactly, so it becomes you lose the sound and end up with Lai La, but
Laila.
technically it's Lai La, and you have that thing.
Laila.
But that becomes Lila, which means night.
Laila Tov.
Exactly.
And Mayim means water.
Maya
right?
means water. And technically, Pir Ya means fruit of God. The Ya ending on a name is part of the Yud He Vav He, the God's name. So Eliyah or Eliyahu or Yirmiyah, when you have people's names with Ya at the end, God is attached to their name. Okay, then when you're ready and you recognize all of those, then you start seeing the difference between the pei with a dot and the fei without a dot. So it's not chopeif, but chofeif in the second word.
So it's like a f in Frank.
Yeah, exactly. If you spelled Frank's name Phrank,
It's not phone, it's Frank.
well, it's phone too, Phone.
Okay, phone.
It's
So it's a.
in English, we really don't differentiate between an F and a PH.
that is a good example with the phone.
So af and rofa
Rofa.
and refuah.
Refua.
Right. And rofa, the rofa root has to do with healing. A rofa is a female healer. A rofeh is a male healer. A refuah is healing. So again, you're going to find a lot of connections in Hebrew between words that in English we don't always connect. I've got time. If I have time, I'll come back and give you the joke on line 3. Otherwise, you'll get it next week. The het is simply more practicing with your throat, but again, going achat, chatati, chem la, getting the rachamim, getting that sound. The last one uses the yud as a consonant and the yud as part of the vowel. So cha, yay.
Chaye.
Exactly.
Chaye.
And then finally, the gimel, just g. And the difference between the gimel and the nun is the gimel has an open at the bottom and the nun is closed at the bottom. And that's important all the way for little kids on with once they get the dreidel, because the gimel means you win everything and the nun means you win nothing. So it's important to know the difference between the gimel and the nun. Otherwise, it's just a matter of goof, gimel,
Goof.
gimel, etc. So good. So line 3 in our last couple of minutes. First one on line 3 is roof. Second one on line 3 is root.
Root.
So you just want to see the differences,
Roof.
which is an old story of the man with the talking dog who goes into the bar and tells the bartender his dog can talk. And the bartender says, yeah, right. He says, look, I'll bet you, and they have a bet going. And he says, okay, if you win, you get free drinks for a year. If you lose, you never come in this bar again. So guy turns to the dog and says, what is on top of a house? And the dog goes, roof, roof. And then the bartender says, yeah, right. Says, okay, what do you think about sandpaper? And the dog goes, rough, rough. And the bartender is really not convinced. The guy says, okay, who is the greatest baseball player of all time? And the dog goes, Root, Root. And the bartender throws him out and tells him never to come back. Guy looks down at his dog, and the dog looks up and it says, what, you wanted me to say DiMaggio? So this Root is either a great baseball player or a Jewish heroine who converts to Judaism.
Thank you for making Hebrew fun.
All right, so